Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having an amazing day. In today's video, we're going to go into my two-step process for manifestation. Before we do, I just want to say if you're new here, welcome. I'm Katie, and on this channel, we dive into all things manifestation, conscious creation, and really stepping into your power to create the life you desire. So let's get into it. Like I said, we're going to go into my two-step process for manifestation. And the reason it's two steps is just because, like I've said in previous videos, manifestation is actually very simple. And we don't need this whole 5-step or 10-step process. We don't need all these different things. There's, in my opinion, just two steps. And you might even be able to just condense it into one. So the first step in the two-step process is find the feeling. And I actually just recorded a video right before this about how to, like a really in-depth video on how to find the feeling of your desired reality. And so I will link it above so that you can go back and watch it. But I want to go into what do I mean by this. So step one is find the feeling. And what do I mean by finding the feeling? So when an idea comes to you, something you want to manifest, or I say something, but often for me, it's like it's not even just the idea of this one particular thing. It's like this idea of this entire kind of new reality to step into. Like it's not just, oh, I just want a car, or oh, I just want this, or it's like that next level that includes that thing or other things, but it's like this whole next level reality that I want to step into. So you might be like me, where it's not just like a thing or two. It's like this idea of like, well, the version of me that has that and is experiencing that, like that's a different level. So it all fits. Okay. So when an idea comes to you, or when you start notice yourself wanting something, the first thing to do is to find the feeling of it. So step one can be done, like I said in this previous video, but we'll go into it here as well. Step one can be done just through meditation. It can be done through journaling. It can be done through just sitting and having like an inner dialogue with yourself. But what this step is really about is about you finding and identifying what is the feeling or feelings that are associated with the particular manifestation. So you will sit with yourself, get quiet with yourself, and visualize yourself in this reality or with this particular manifestation. Or you will sit and you will journal as if it's there. Or you will sit and kind of talk yourself through it as if you're already there. Find something that works for you. And as you're doing that, you're going to start to feel those feelings in your being in this now moment. The more you visualize it, or the more you write as if you're already there, or the more that you talk it out to yourself like you're already there, you're going to start to notice that there are certain feelings that are being brought up within you. And those feelings might be feelings like joy, bliss, excitement, eagerness, curiosity, all of these type of things, abundance, freedom, limitlessness, all of these type of things, right? And so your job in step one is to identify the feeling. Find the feeling or feelings. Because once you get clear on how it feels to have that thing or be that version of you or be experiencing that reality, then it gets easy. Because once you've identified it and you're like, okay, this is how it feels. This is how it feels in my body. You might even get really specific and say like, okay, I'm feeling a lot of joy and I feel it like spreading throughout my body, and it feels, you might like journal it out and write it down. Like, what does it feel like inside of you? I might notice like a smile just comes over my face. I might notice that all of a sudden my breathing feels like deeper and clearer. I'm feeling really excited. I feel like excitement energy in my body. Or it might be completely opposite. It might be, I'm feeling this deep calm within my system. I'm feeling like my breathing is slowing down. I feel like every cell in my body is deeply relaxing. I feel like I can take these really deep, slow breaths. It feels like there's just this deep peace within. Like get clear on the feeling and describe what does it feel like in your body. Like this is where I would like write it out, really get clear on it because you might want that to come back to. Like if you find the feeling, write it out, describe it. What is it like? What are words that you would associate with it? What are affirmations that you would say that kind of go along with it? Write out anything that you feel is important about it. Have you ever felt this way before? Is there a particular memory that comes to mind? Is there anything that this feeling like compels you to do? Is it like, oh, I feel so like cozy. I just want to go take a warm bath or because these are going to be important pieces of information for you as we move into step 2. So really get clear on it, identify it, and then get specific. Like, and if there's no specifics coming to mind, that's okay because the more you practice it, the more you're going to get clear on it. Okay. So first step is find the feeling. Find the feeling, name it. Like I said, there might be multiple feelings. Like for me, it's typically not just one. Like if I'm imagining my desired reality, it's like there's like this deep inner peace, yet there's excitement, yet there's also like a curiosity and a drive to learn and do more. It's like all these different things, right? So, you can encompass it into one if that feels good, but just, write it out in your journal or draw it out. Like you can draw like a big blurb or bubble where you put in all the different words and it all kind of comes together, whatever you want. Okay. So step 1, find the feeling. And step 2, practice the feeling. That's it. This is the 2-step process. Find the feeling and practice the feeling. So let's go into step 2 because this is really the key. Once you've found the feeling, like I said, you've done that check and now all you have left to do is step 2, practice the feeling. What do I mean by practice the feeling? It is you simply day after day setting aside time to connect with yourself and to bring that feeling into your being. Very simply, what I mean is practice it. Practice that feeling. Practice bringing that feeling into your body. Practice holding on to that feeling for as long as you can, day after day, because eventually what's going to happen, and I know I talked about this in the previous video, but eventually what's going to happen is that feeling becomes your norm. It's no longer something you're practicing. It's no longer something you're having to like intentionally set aside time to connect with. The more you practice it, it becomes your norm. It becomes natural. And once that is, bam. Once it's natural, bam, you're done. Because the second it's natural is also the second that the manifestations start to appear in your reality. And it's the second that you no longer need them or feel like that strong urge for them because you've already mastered it within yourself, which is why they can appear for multiple reasons. One, it's because there's less attachment to them. You've mastered the feeling within yourself. So you're already it from the inside out. And then because you're embodying that energy, the world around you has to reflect it back to you. So your particular manifestation, along with many others that are also on that same wavelength, are going to start making their way to you because you are the embodiment of it. And so it's like a magnet. It's like you're now pulling and drawing in the world around you to reflect that back to you. Let me know in the comments down below, is this making sense? So how to practice it? Okay, well, then we can just go back to everything we just talked about. You find the best way for you and the way that feels good for you. Like I mentioned in the previous video, find something that feels good to you. This should not feel like work. This should not feel like you're having to push yourself to do something. This is like, okay, if you really like meditating and every day you can just like meditate on that feeling or meditate on a visualization of it, do that. If you really like journaling, journal every day about it. Every day wake up and write as if you're in that reality. And you can every day you can switch it up. You can do the same every single day, but switch it up, write down different aspects, new things, explore new parts of it and allow yourself to feel the feeling. You can talk it out to yourself. I personally really like this method. It's kind of like a meditation in that I'm sitting, I'm quiet, I'm deep breathing, I'm kind of in a relaxed state, but instead of my thoughts being quiet or focused on a visualization, I'm like speaking it either in my head or to myself, like talking as if I'm that version right now. So I might be saying things like, oh man, how amazing is it to wake up today and to be in this reality and to be, I'd be giving specifics like, how amazing it is to wake up in this place and to look out my window and it's so cozy here and I'm just absolutely loving my life. I love waking up being me. I love waking up and living my life as me. I love the way it feels to just be in this reality and to get to live this experience. I feel so lucky and excited and exhilarated to live this life as me. Like I'll just have a full on conversation with myself um, about it. Sometimes what I also do is like, I like to imagine that I'm having a conversation with somebody else. Like I might imagine that I'm being interviewed and being asked like, wow, how did you do it? How did you get here? And I'll start talking as the version of me who's already there and explaining like, wow, yeah, like as if I'm looking back. Wow, yeah, like, this was my life and all of a sudden I kind of stumbled upon this process and I just started putting it into practice and the more I practiced it, the more it just became who I was and yeah, and now I just get to live here and I get to have this experience and I have these relationships and I always struggled in the past and now look where I am and like these are just some fun things that you can start to do to yourself. Like I said in the previous video, you can send voice notes to yourself where you're just recording voice notes as if you're that version and then you listen back to them. You can involve your friends and have conversations with your friends where each of you takes turns talking as that version of you and all like fueling each other, supporting each other in our visions. Like I said, you can write it down in your journal. You could write it as if you're writing a letter to an old version of you and saying, wow, look where I am now. Like there's so many ways you can do this and you need to make it fun for yourself. Otherwise it's not going to work because the second it starts to feel like work or a chore or something you don't want to do is the second that you're also kind of going against the feeling of your manifestation. So use whatever of these you like, come up with your own, put in the comments below. What are the ways that you practice? I would love to hear what are some ways that you personally practice the feeling, or are there any ways that you're thinking of that I'm not mentioning? I also think I mentioned in the other video, like if you're an artist or you like to draw yourself in that scene, paint yourself in that scene. If you're like a songwriter or singer, make a song about it that you would write as that version of you. You can do all sorts of things, okay, to uh, conjure up that feeling within yourself and to really practice that feeling. And then what's going to happen, and this is why there's only two steps. There's only two steps because all you have to do is find the feeling and practice the feeling, because then from there, the rest will unfold for you. You won't have to do anything. Once you find the feeling and you practice that feeling, and the more you practice it, the more it becomes more natural for you, and the more you can hold on to that feeling longer, the more that the rest will start to unfold, where you'll just start to get an inspiration to do something, or someone will say something to you at the exact right time that sparks this, or all of a sudden something will come to you and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, like I'm going to do this, and it leads you down the path. Like things will start to unfold naturally, because the more you're embodying this new feeling, the more you're broadcasting a new energetic signal out to the world, and the more that's going to be reflected back to you little by little until, like I said, it just becomes you. That's who you are and that's how you live. Other things that I like to do to practice, create affirmations for yourself. I love affirmations personally, but again, if they don't work for you, don't do them, because then you won't enjoy it. So I like to just find affirmations that go along with like the visualization that I'm coming up with, or that go along with like really connecting with that feeling. But they should be affirmations that when you say them, you feel it. Like put them into words that are just like, I am outrageously abundant. Like, ooh, when I say that, I'm like, yeah, like I feel that. Or like, I am wildly successful. Like, okay, wow. But like, put it in your own words. How would you talk? How would you say it? What's the thing that like it evokes the feeling from you? That's what you need. Or coming up with, like I mentioned in the previous video as well, like a little imaginal scene, which is just like a few seconds. Maybe take it from like a whole long visualization that you've done about your desired reality, and just take a few seconds from it that really embody like the feeling. And every now and again, you just bring that visualization to your mind. Like it could literally just be the image of you on the beach getting like an amazing massage. Or like all of a sudden you're like completely tapped into relaxation. You're like, ah. So when I say practice the feeling, what I would do in the beginning is practice it every single day. And I would practice multiple times a day. I mean, it depends how, like, you know, how quickly do you want your manifestation? Do you want to experience it quickly? Because if you do, then I would practice it every day, multiple times a day, and just as long as it's fun, don't force yourself. If there's days that you need to take days off, do that. But meditate in the morning or journal in the morning or say your affirmations in the morning. And then at some point in the afternoon, when you've got a little break, even if it's just saying a few affirmations or it's just a quick journaling, do something to get yourself in that feeling. And then at night before bed, really good at night before bed to do a visualization and like fall asleep in that visualization. I find that to be really helpful. And the more you kind of keep this routine, the more that you'll get really comfortable with that feeling, so that then throughout the day in little moments, you won't necessarily need to sit down and do a full meditation or do a full journaling or whatever. You'll just be able to say, like, let's say, okay, usually I do it in the morning on my lunch and then in the evening before bed. Okay, well, now you're going to start sprinkling it in little moments. Well, now you're in the shower and you're saying your affirmations. Now you're washing your face, you're saying your affirmations. Now you're in the kitchen cooking, you're doing your imaginal scene. Now all of a sudden you're doing laundry and you're taking some deep breaths and breathing in the feeling that you've been that is associated with it. Now all of a sudden you're taking a walk outside and all of a sudden you're imagining that on your walk is the whole new scene around you and you're really feeling the feeling. And so this is how you stay disciplined with this work. That's the thing, is like, you are the one that's going to, like, there's nothing that's going to force you to do this. You know what I mean? This is up to you to say, okay, I'm going to keep going with this. I'm going to make the intentional effort to connect with this feeling. And the thing is, you guys, it should feel good, because connecting with the feeling should feel like a feeling that you want to embody, right? If it's your desired feeling, why wouldn't you want to connect with it? The only reason that it might feel a little bit effortful in the beginning is because it's new. It's different, right? And think about anything in your life. It's always maybe felt a little uncomfortable in the beginning or a little tricky in the beginning. And it's just because it's something new, but always with practice, what happens? It starts to feel normal. It starts to feel better. Like, I just think about driving a car where it seems like in the beginning, there's so much to learn. And there's all these different buttons and all these different signaling things. And it seems like, oh my gosh, there's all these different road signs and da-da-da. And then after a few weeks, you're just like cruising along and you're driving. And it's like, because most of us really want to drive, right? Like, we want to be able to get places. So like, we're motivated. We're going to learn how to drive. And it's the same thing here. Do you want your desired reality? Okay, then guess what? In the beginning, it's just going to take a little practice. It's just going to take a little practice. The more you find the feeling and practice the feeling until it becomes comfortable, then the easier it gets. And then the second that it becomes your norm and becomes natural to you is when all of a sudden life starts to reflect it back to you more and more and more and more, because you are a match to it. So this is the 2-step process. Number 1, find the feeling. And number 2, practice the feeling, and kind of in parentheses, until it becomes your norm. Okay? So let me know what you thought of this 2-step process. Put your thoughts in the comment below. And like I said, if you have ways that you practice the feeling, put it in the comments below and leave some inspiration for all of us. I always find it helpful, because I think what happens is it gives people new ideas. And like I said, it doesn't feel like work, right? We don't want it to feel like work. So put it in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel. And if you want to work with me further, all the links you need are down below. There's the links for different ways to work with me one-on-one, single sessions, packages of sessions, and the link to apply to my kind of higher level one-on-one long-term programs where we do one-on-one sessions, but we also do some added stuff that really take it to that next level. So you can apply at the link down below. And then there's also the link to the free 14-day trial of the membership, which is my monthly subscription platform where we do all the stuff we do on this channel, just like taking it up a notch. And we do live calls. There's a community group forum. There's a living library of content, all type of good stuff. So if you're interested in that, you can check it out below. And other than that, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.